Hello, Ruth. Hello, Kurt.
Hello.
Guys.
Hi.
Well, then, here we are. I thought Wink was going to be joining us. I'm not sure who else. The invitation's kind of out there. Um, you and I met about a week ago, and we just kind of talked about your interest, and then I wanted to put it out there for other members in the group to jump in. Uh, the the problem with this time of day is it's too early for a lot of people.
Yeah, totally.
So I kind of got some pushback on my scheduling today, but it kind of came late, the feedback. So I thought if I changed the scheduling, it would uh, just get confusing. You know what I mean? Um, You've already met me. This is Kurt. He's leading our events conversations. Did you, I don't know, did you want to talk to each other?
Absolutely. So what sorts of things exactly have you been doing, or are you planning to be doing?
Right now, we're really in a holding pattern for our semi-annual event. It's hopefully going to be an annual event called All of Us, which I guess we've had is it three or four times in the past, I believe. So whether or not that happens this year is another question, but so that's our main event, and then hopefully we'll be having some smaller get-togethers or smaller local events, possibly a East Coast event as well. Just gathering um, the community together to celebrate and have fun and network and organize and that sort of thing. It's kind of up in the air right now, but we're trying to nail down some parameters to make the decisions for that.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's a lot more complicated now to be planning these things than it might usually be. What at All of Us, what's the turnout been in terms of like demographics? Like thinking about the balance of male identifying peoples versus female versus other. How has that looked?
Well, I'm gonna speak to that because
Yeah.
Kurt wasn't involved with the production part of it that time. It's shifted dramatically every year. Imagine we were largely, cis white gay men at the beginning. By 2018, which was our fourth year, we really pushed heavily for more diversity at the and we had a lot of female identified. We did have a good representation. I'm not sure if I'm qualified to say good or bad or whatever, but representation of trans and gender
non-conforming.
Yeah, without I don't want to define what people are, that's all.
Yeah.
We created a space that was specifically for female identified and people that wanted to be feel safe in environments.
Okay, what did that space like look like? Just trying to like understand conceptually.
We had a large cabin with multiple rooms that had private bathrooms and showers that were set aside for those people that wanted that kind of safe space.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And we honored, we did everything we can to honor boundaries and communication. We held, I don't know if you know Ariel Ferguson or not, but her and Ronnie Appleseed are two leaders with the Gender Blender Camp. And they managed a lot of education workshops for us, and specifically dealing with sexuality, gender, It was a lot that was going on. I mean, because one of the focuses of all of us has also been education and community building. So
Mhm.
we've, we've had to tackle problems with the way people are talked to, even within our own community. And it's always been a struggle to get some people to understand that it's not this person's job to educate you about their bodies and about who they are. So, so we just created space for that, and then set up some really strong guidelines on boundaries, and in just being appropriate and behaving with other people at the event.
Mhm. Okay.
We had a little bit of a problem in 2017 that we addressed with full force. So
Okay.
The other issue that we brought up was just teaching consent as well, teaching consent as a concept.
consent, oh yeah, consent's always on the table, big time. Yes.
Mhm.
Consent, yeah, consent culture. We are very, very, very strong in our communication on that in the past,
Mhm.
and hopefully we continue that in the future. I just want to introduce Wink.
Hi.
Hello.
He's our communications officer on the board.
Oh, awesome. Well, lovely to meet you.
Well, we met when you were skiing, but
Yes. Oh, yes, we did. We did.
I guess it's hard to see everyone when you're on your phone. So
Yes. Yeah. No, I hadn't seen your face yet, and then now I do remember we have met.
One of Ruth's strengths, I think, as I remember from our previous conversation, is dealing with equity, inclusion, and diversity.
Mhm.
So that's something she's bringing to the conversation. And she says she's something of a crazy person about organizing. Right on that.
That's a good summary. Yeah.
What does that look like?
Oh boy, that looks like a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of Google Docs, a lot of recording things, writing things down. Yeah. I mean, so because my day job is that I'm a teacher, and so I think I've gathered a lot of organizational skills through teaching, which is good. Something I was wondering about for events, just like still along that same line, is what's the messaging being that's been going out to try to build that point of diversity. I was in a conversation with one of my friends yesterday and about Burning Man and the challenges in having a white dominated space trying to get more diversity, right? And so it's like white people trying to get people of color to attend an event and trying to work out how to address these issues. And so it just sort of made me think about queer burners and how those same sort of conversations, whether it's about color or whether it's about, various genders and sexualities, how that's been, what that outward messaging looks like, that's like actively trying to encourage that diversity.
I mean, just speaking to it just briefly, and I'm going to get out of the way and let other people speak too. But I personally feel that in almost any most communication that we've sent out, we have included our intentions. I mean, we actually had a bit of a conversation about this earlier today at a different meeting. But I think it's very clear that we have a very strong intention, even though we are very cisgendered male white as far as what we have on the board right now. But we're working on paths. I mean, we got someone that's in charge of that right now, who's leading, I should say. we're still figuring things out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you checked out our mission statement.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I think that document does a good. I think that's my opinion. That's all. Is that document does a good job of setting the groundwork to build from.
hmm Yeah, definitely. And I think having a mission statement like that is so important, making clear to anyone who's interested what that foundational, perspective is and what the foundational work is.
I know that in the next board meeting, I'm asking for a meeting, and this also kind of stems from a conversation we had this morning. Wink, going back to that, where we can specifically talk about just this issue, because for me it's very important, and I've had very long conversations with Nexus about it, and it is something that's important to me on a level that it's hard to communicate. But
Yeah. I think the communication aspect can be the most challenging part. Yeah.
And I guess I would say, most everything that's gone out has sort of stressed that the door is open. And but like I know a few people who attended some meetings with some interest, but then I think didn't feel they were qualified, even though I would have said they were, and I don't know if that was a graceful way to bow out, just not feeling like it was the right fit. So yeah, I think we need to work on recruitment. So it seems like having opened the door and made it, and done what we thought was making that clear hasn't, encouraged many more people to join. So
it seems really hard I kind of cringe when I see a bunch of white people talking about inclusion and diversity, because it doesn't seem as genuine or as it doesn't. Yeah, I think genuine might be the right word. Like Nexus used some words that have stuck with me about creating magnets or monoliths, or trying to force people into positions to kind of show, hey, I know this Black guy, I'm I'm down, I'm woke, it's avoiding these, I don't know, like
tokenistic.
real.
aspect,
What's that?
right?
Go ahead.
We don't want to go towards tokenism.
Exactly. That's the word.
Yeah.
Would have been better. Yes. Yeah. And we were talking this morning about a conversation on Facebook, for example. I don't know if you saw in Queer Burners, somebody asked, at first they asked how many trans people are on the board. And I didn't see the word trans when I first answered. I just said, oh, we got 7 people, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized afterwards, but there's no one that I know of that has identified themselves as trans. So, I thought that they were wishing us luck, but I'm like, no, they're like, good luck, buddy. At first, you know what I mean? It's like, but it's hard because I'm struggling, because I want to say, well, then come on in, let's talk, But that doesn't work if a person doesn't feel safe that they can go in there and talk, because, one of my biggest cringes in the world is a middle-aged white guy, that's standing around talking about race and diversity and gender and stuff like that, because I'm a middle-aged white guy that's standing around there, and I feel very differently. I feel very passionately about the subject,
Mhm.
but I'm not great at communicating about it, I guess. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Does that answer?
Yeah.
All those middle-aged white guys feel that way. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that it entirely makes sense, and I think it's, it comes back to those challenges of the door is open, people are welcome, but if people aren't walking through the door, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The big lingering question.
Well,
Yeah.
I think having had the door, I mean, I guess, so I've been in talks with Scott since last May, I guess, that started about the website. And Ariel was in on those early, and I don't even know if it started as the website. I forget how we started a discussion, but I remember like the three of us being in on discussions. And so enough time has passed that the door being open isn't working. Yeah, I think that sort of like just saying the door is open, we need to work on something else. So,
I mean, is it my mistake to say that I think the biggest underlying factor is safety? I mean, a person has to feel, and my perception is that a person has to feel that they can safely walk into an environment and not feel attacked or sidelined on their issues or dismissed. People want to be heard on this subject, and there's this overwhelming need, in my perception, of white, and then I think this falls into the area of white privilege or white something, where I have to solve your problem. Like,
White savior.
yeah, well, there's white savior, but there's also like, so you don't have a person of color on your board, it's kind of a statement, or a trans person. So even though I've got this person in this role, they should be booted out. We'll just boot this person out and put this person in, so we satisfy that requirement. And I think that also creates a form of tokenism that also demeans the role. Where my theory is, and what I'm hoping to understand more in a focused discussion, is adding, the board is not limited. We are legally required to have 3 roles, right? But we are not limited to those roles or by the defined roles that we have already discussed. Like we talked about the co-chair position, for example, when I think about you coming into the board or being part of the organization, I'm kind of turning the conversation back to the original purpose of our meeting on this topic. But I'm thinking Ruth's got all these strengths. I don't know co-chair is right. I'm not sure where we're going with that role. Originally there was a plan, but we're evolving still. I want to use your organization skills, and I want to use your focus and your voice in a lot of different ways if you're willing to jump in. And when you talk about organizing, one of the things that I was thinking about would be you would help us organize our Google Docs, edit out some of our old meeting stuff, and streamline that area.
Absolutely. That is within the realm of what I can do.
Yeah, and help us manage our meeting minutes and agendas and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like Winka said, we've been doing this for almost a year now. And we've met, there's been at least one meeting almost every 2 weeks, at least. And so right now, our videos and our documentation, from my perspective, is not a big issue because I'll just let it keep accumulating. But when someone needs to find it, they need to be able to find it. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
The way my brain organizes is not the way everybody else works.
Mhm.
So I was kind of wanted to talk to you about possibly taking on that role. I want to add your voice to the board. I don't know if there would be a title with that.
Well, I think we could also be open to let Ruth think about what the title would be.
Well, that's an idea too. I mean,
What do you want to bring? And because I think it is a group that's still forming.
Mhm.
And I mean, you know your skill set better than any of us. And if you thought there was a title that made sense, and maybe it's co-chair until you're in, for some time to figure out, oh, this other thing makes more sense, or, so I don't think it doesn't need to, I mean, the title.
what does the co-chair position mean to you if we went that route? And if that's not, I mean, you don't have to answer right now. I'm just, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but like we have Sarah and we have Nexus. Nexus is he's kind of he went EID in his title, but I don't think Sarah took a title, right? She just did. She's a voting member of the board.
So at large, I think, was she
is it at large? I mean, it's.
So her title is board member, essentially.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are things you can think about, and you're welcome to declare that kind of thing today. And then I'm happy to put you on the agenda for the next board meeting.
I think that would be amazing. I think the things that you've like envisioned that I could help with, I absolutely would love to do. I think that would be great. And I'm not great at coming up with things on the spot in terms of a title. So there's no title idea coming out of me right now.
Let me be honest about one other thing too. Is like when we started off, we were looking at Matt as being co-chair. He and Wink, I think have been working the longest with this process with me to get Queer Burners to where it's at right now. But he took the clerk position because we didn't have anybody for it. If we maybe not this month, maybe in the not so distant future, if we switch those roles around a little bit and just gave you that full on, would that be something that might work for you?
Yeah.
I talked to Matt about it. That's why I don't know how he feels about it. So if that's a direction. Yeah.
No, I think, I mean, see how he feels.
Yeah. And then just given your passion with EID, I think I'd really like you to connect with Nexus and just see if that can help us get that area communicating. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Getting that that, because I think it's super important for us to start off with that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
the
frankly,
leading.
that's our first public initiative, as a matter of fact. That's the only thing that we're trying to put out there right now in order to engage people
Mhm.
that that are not represented here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be great for me to have a conversation with Nexus and, you know, start having that dialogue and collaborating to see where we can go.
All right, give me 1 second here.
Ruth, could you just talk a little bit about your EID experience? What you said that was something that some skills that you've developed. Where does that come from?
Yeah. So my whole master's degree turned into that. Honestly, I studied. My master's is in human rights education, which in reality became an entire degree studying inequities.
Mm-hmm.
And so my focus was on gender and sexuality and really far-ranging inequities experienced, and different ways that it's, you know, contributing to people's experiences at different points. So looking at housing, looking at teenage experiences in schools, a big focus on like microaggressions, and like normalized behaviors and things like that. So that was sort of the beginning of that work. And then I was a part of putting together an equity committee at my school district. And so I've been running trainings for teachers at my school district and at the previous school district that I worked at on inclusive teaching, with that focus on gender and sexuality and how to address those issues from kindergarten through 12th grade and how to integrate it into various subjects, specifically social studies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It
yeah.
sounds wonderful. It sounds like a really fascinating subject to focus on and to study. Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been really, really great. But you know, it's also really challenging. It's that same environment of at my current school, everyone is white, everyone is cisgendered, and everyone other than me is straight. And so it's like interesting to be, you know, to be educating people on how they can then educate students when they themselves are usually not educated enough
And the
to
weight
do
of
so.
that responsibility must feel huge, like to take that on for your whole district, did you say? Or something?
Yeah. So it's pretty big. And the other person leading it, which becomes a little problematic, is so I'm leading it alongside one of the principals, but he is a straight, white, middle-aged man. And so, you know, he's on county level equity committee things, but it's like, okay, like it's a challenging thing then in how many blind spots we're identifying. But
That's great.
it's
That
good
sounds
work.
really, really rewarding, and I'm sure gratifying as well.
Yeah.
But the challenge, I can only imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for asking.
If you're okay, I'd like to go ahead and wrap this up.
Mhm.
Ruth, I did extend you an invitation to the communications team meeting. You're welcome. It's definitely optional. We have some specific focuses that we're going to be diving into today, but you're welcome to join any meeting.
Awesome.
We have a new channel. Well, I don't know want to talk about that right now, I guess. No, okay, he's shaking his head. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, so as soon as I can, I'll get you access to the calendar, and then I'll get you on the agenda for the next board meeting, okay?
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I'm really excited about this. I think
I'm thrilled to have you
really great.
participating. I really am.
Awesome. Thank you. And the meeting today, I won't be able to make it because I do have another appointment, but in the future, I will have my time scheduled.
No problem. Thank
Ruth,
you so
where-
much.
Where on the planet are you? Just,
I live in San Rafael in the Bay Area.
oh, okay.
But a lot of the time I'm up in Tahoe. So yeah.
All right, guys. Ruth, will you hang back for just a minute? I want to touch base with you on something. Thank you,
Yep.
guys.
Bye.
In a little bit.
Thanks.